Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad AKMAL bin ZAIDI. I am from class 2A in April Group A. My group chose the country of Australia. Introduction about tourism. Tourism is an intentionally geographic phenomenon. If we view human geography as being concerned essentially with the pattern and consequences of the economic, social, cultural, and political relationship between people and the space and place that comprise the environment, then the annual migration of millions of travelers worldwide within the activity that the label as tourism is a process that human geography should not ignore. There are three basic forms of tourism: domestic tourism, inbound tourism, and outside tourism. Domestic tourism refers to activity of a visitor within their country of residence and outside of their home. Inbound tourism refers to the activity of a visitor from outside of country of residence. Outbound tourism refers to the activities of a resident visitor outside of their country of residence. Tourism is travel for pleasure or business. Also, the theory and practice of tourism. The business of extracting accommodation and entertaining tourists, and the business of operation tour. Tourism also is one of the world's fastest growing industries, as well as the major source of foreign exchange, earning, and employment for many developing countries. Literature review on tourism geography. Geological tourism, geotourism, is a global activity that represents an important research direction. The latter is very young but has spread repeatedly since the 2000s. The geographical pattern of geotourism research can be examined through a bibliographical survey. A total of 165 journal articles were selected on geotourism, published by 470 specialists from 45 countries during the 2012 to 2014 term. The spread of this concept also is shown by the evidence of the growth of national and international network of specialists. There is no good explanation for the documented work distribution of geotourism research that can be fully confirmed. Such an outcome implies that the geographical pattern of this research scientific discipline is determined by a set of puzzling factors that may be equally important. Literature review on tourism geography is to review the field of tourism in order to provide a background for the development of transportation technology, such as physical information system designed specifically for the tourists who drive. Because the field of tourism is complex and multifaceted. This review covers a wide range of areas that are relevant to the driving tourist.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ZAIDI bin BUDIONO. Today I want to tell about Playground Australia. Australia is officially service country and consists of mainland Australia, the island of Tasmania and many other small islands. It is also the largest country by region Oceania and also the sixth largest country in the world. However, Canberra is the capital of Australia, with the largest city in Australia is Sydney, and other major metropolitan areas include Melbourne and Adelaide. In addition, Australia's population is nearly 26 million people. In addition, its area of 7,670,930 square kilometers, 2,941,300 square meters, is early urban and largely concentrated on the East Coast. Next, Aboriginal Australians inhabited the continent began about 65,000 years ago, before the first arrivals of Dutch explorers in early 17th century, whose name is New Zealand. In 1770, the eastern part of Australia was claimed by Great Britain in settlers via person transport to the colonial of New South Wales from 26 January 1788. This being the date became Australia's national day.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ADDIN. I represent from the location of Australia. Okay, the first picture is the location of Australia. Okay, the second map is the map continent of Oceania. Okay, the continent of Oceania is the smallest continent in the world, and it have a lot of islands. And the last bit, the last map is the map of Australia state. Okay. Western Australia, Northern Territory, South Australia, and Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and the last is Tasmania. And I'm pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is MUHAMAD AMIRUL bin MUHAMAD AZIZI, and I'm from SEM 2A. And now I will continue with the season and climates of Australia. There are 4 seasons in Australia, which is summer, autumn, winter, and spring. The first one is summer. Summer usually starts between the month of December until February, and summer usually is a hot, sunny day. And next is autumn. As the weather cools in autumn, the country transforms from lush green to beautiful hues of orange, crimson, or and gold. And autumn season usually starts from March to May. Next is winter season. Most visitors are amazed to discover that Australia has a white winter, which is famed for its red outback and golden sand beaches. And winter season usually starts from June until August. And the last is spring. The spring season in Australia is highlighted by sunny days and cold evening, and it starts from September until November. Next is I want to talk about the climates of the certain place. So the first one is the climates at the East Coast, which is Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. The East Coast of Australia, which is most crowded and the most visited by the tourists, has a nice climate. The weather conditions are heavily influenced by the ocean water. Melbourne frequently experiences all 4 seasons in a single day. It might be bright one minute and rain the next minute. The further north you go, the warmer and drier it becomes. The weather in Sydney is warm yet mild throughout the year, but Brisbane is hot and drier. The next climates is in Western Australia, which is Perth. Summers in Perth are hot and dry with moderate winters. Summer thunderstorm and rain are minimal, but thunderstorm and rain are widespread during the cooler months. Cold front and winds blowing in from Antarctica hit Western Australia's south coast. The next place is Northern Australia, which is Darwin and Cairns. Despite their huge distance, Darwin and Cairns have similar weather patterns throughout the year. Unlike other sections of Australia, the northern end of Australia has rainy and dry seasons. And last but not least, we have the Australian desert. The Australian desert is commonly referred to as the outback on maps, and it has a hot and arid environment. The outback is extremely hot and humid in the summer, with temperatures reaching 50 degrees Celsius on occasion. And many people are unaware that the outback may endure sub-zero temperature in the winter. And the condition in Australia desert can be unstable. It cannot rain for years, or it might rain so hard that it floods, creating salt lake like the Lake Eyre. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is ZAIDI. Today I want to tell about popular tourism activity during season and climates. Popular tourist activity during the winter in Australia, skiing which is located in Pressure, Kosciuszko National Park, and SW and Pressure also one of the most popular ski resorts in Australia. It is also physically positive with activity in the winter. Furthermore, it's the largest ski area in the Southern Hemisphere, and including for commuted skiing resort and even ski can access with just one pass. And also from 2016, we also have access to other Vale resorts such as Vale and Rebel Creeks. Other popular activity are hot air balloon ride at the Pullman Melbourne on the parks, Religion Parade, Melbourne Big Story, and Australia. Alternatively, from the Pullman and the Park Hotel, you will be taken to the Global Balloon Australia landside for a 60-minute hot air balloon ride, and you will receive a safety briefing before starting your flight over the city of Melbourne.
During the summer, December till February. During the summer, average temperature range from 18.6 to 25.8 Celsius. It is in Sydney. When it was winter, Sydney winter month are June to August, when average temperature dropped between 8.8 to 17 Celsius. Sydney's rainfall is generally highest in June, with average of 5.2 inches, while July is the coolest month, when average daytime temperature reach about 17 Celsius. During spring weather, in spring, days are warmer, but the humidity is not as high as summer. Average daily range from 11 to 23 Celsius.
So I will continue with the nature disaster frequently occur in Australia. So the first one is heat wave. So heat wave are Australia's deadliest natural disaster. A heat wave is defined by the Bureau of Meteorology as 3 or more days of extremely high maximum and lowest temperature in a given area. According to the Natural Hazards Research Center Risk Frontiers, heat wave caused nearly 5 times as many deaths as bushfire. It claims that between 1990 and 2015, 4,555 Australians died as a result of excessive heat. So the next one is floods. The Queensland floods of 2010 and 11 were one of the most famous and destructive floods to impact the country. More than 78% of Queensland was declared a disaster zone, which is an area larger than France and Germany combined. 33 people perished and over 2.5 million people were affected. The flood damage was estimated to be worth more than 5 billion by the Queensland Reconstruction Authority. So last but not least is cyclone. Cyclone Yasi was one of Australia's most intense tropical storms in the recent few decades. The far north Queensland coast was struck by a Category 5 storm in February 2011. Approximately 1,000 people reported major damage to their homes and over 2,000 residents lost power and one person died. And that's all for me.
Hai, Assalamualaikum and selamat sejahtera. My name is Irfan JAZMAN. So today I would like to tell you about famous nature destination in Australia, and which is in Australia. So Australia, there's a few states which is the famous state, which is Sydney, Melbourne and Perth. First thing first, Sydney is the first stop on many Australian itineraries for good reason. It is an inviting blend of the exhilarating and easygoing. So as you all know, you can fix excitement in the city, but with a short drive you will hit the golden sand of beaches like Bondi and Manly. Plus, with endless nature as a doorstep, Sydney is the starting point for the day trip, serving up fresh air, unique flavors and locals who knows a thing or two about living life to the fullest. Second, Melbourne is a blend of bustling laneways, world-class restaurant, captivating museum. The locals love their coffee and serve it in abundance at cozy cafes. There always sense excitement here, whether it is in near the city, fascinating flavors or fierce sporting rivalries. Third, Perth has nature and urban life exists in harmony in Perth on Australia's west coast. Here, where the locals soak up sunnier days than in any other Australian capital city. You can visit nearby Rottnest Island, walk in leafy Kings Park, and experience Swan Valley's vineyard.
Okay, next I will present about the local animal and plant in Australia. Okay, the first animal is a kangaroo. Kangaroo is the trademark of Australia. Okay, the second animal is koala. Koala also a trademark of Australia too. Okay, and the last animal is a platypus. Platypus is a animal can lay the egg. Next I will about local plant in Australia. We have gum tree and billy button, and the last plant is nodigibang. And that's it from me. Okay, I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I want to tell about strategy and proposal for conserving and preserving nature and physical geography in Australia. The first one, the Australian State and Territory Minister of Environment have endorsed a new approach to biodiversity conservation touched the Australian Strategy of Nature 2019 until 2030. In addition, the strategy is supported by a dedicated website, Australian Nature Hub, as well as the board strategy and hub developments and honoured by the Commonwealth. All state, the territorial government as well as the Australian Local Government Association. In addition, Australia's Strategy for Nature and support website Australian Nature Hub bring together existing work across the country with the aim of guiding the development of a new innovative approach to biodiversity conservation.
Conclusion. Australia, the smallest continent and one of the largest countries on Earth, lying between the Pacific and Indian Ocean in the southern hemisphere. Australia's capital is Canberra, located in the southern between the largest and more important economic and cultural centres of Sydney and Melbourne. Australia is the driest inhabited continent on Earth. Its interior has one of the lowest rainfalls in the world, and about 3/4 of the land is arid or semi-arid. Its filter areas are wild weather, however, and there are used very effectively to help feed the world. The geography of Australia is amazing because of their beaches that are truly eye-catching. Coral reef, the surround the country in the vast ocean, and the outback full of remarkable wildlife.